Do you remember the Frank Shamrock fight?
Yeah, yes ma'am. Yeah, I fought Frank Shamrock, and he had a lot of negative things to say about my coach, and I represent my coach, and my coach is, a really important part of my foundation, and everybody else that I've worked with in this life and in this sport, and mixed martial arts and jiu-jitsu and martial arts in general. So when this happened, I was like, no. Now I'm involved, because you can't just involve yourself in that level for nothing, It becomes like how it is if that's how it's going to be, and then so that's how I wound up, and I ran up the guy for the job again, and it's crazy because that's how I feel. I always wondered what it was like for Frank at that point in time, where he was so much better than everybody and for so long, and not that he wasn't still better than everybody, it was just that, now it's different, and now there's an angle, and then either you come in or you don't, and then, he did what he's supposed to do, and he went in, to make his money, or to get out there and do what he does. And he didn't. It's not that I went out there expecting to win. You don't ever really do that. I expect to, have a serious fight. I'm gonna die trying. It's kind of how I go, and I think that's how Frank fights too. If you watch his career, if you watch him, he beat Tito Ortiz. I don't know if like when you watch mixed martial arts. People just stop it. It's not that they don't. It's just that I don't think about it, these big fights, and I don't watch them again. But I know what happened, And he beat Guy Mesger and choked him, and then he beat Frank Shamrock. This was the best guys. This is who all there was. So he was the best fighter in the world, and I beat him. But I went in there and beat him for sure because he fought my coach. And it wasn't that he, but I really got to give it to this guy though. I really got to give it hats off to Caesar, because this guy started talking shit and was talking shit, and was like, hey, I called you and I want to put together a fight, because Frank's kind of a fucking, he's kind of like that. What do you call it? I don't want to say anything negative about Frank, but it's kind of like he's got like this kind of corny type of vibe to him where he calls you, and he's like, yeah, I want to put a fight together. I want to fight you. Who the fuck? What? That sounds so weird. You're like, hey, well, fuck you then. Set it up, bud. What? This just corniest type of vibe I could come up with, and that's kind of like what you get though. But I don't do business like that. You know what I mean? I just don't. But I'm just talking about how these guys do, and the difference. It's just. I guess I'm just old enough to where I'm even gonna be able to talk about it to I do, because it's just not a good look as far as I'm concerned. The way that one does that, I want to say I would have somebody set this sort of thing up for me if it was my idea. But I just had to, and that's what he did. And so he ended up getting the fight. And so so Caesar's like, well, hey man, freaking 100 grand, no problem. I'm going in there fighting, man. And I'm like, are you serious? And I thought about it, I'm like, well, yeah, 100 grand, 100 grand. I'm like, Jesus, that's a lot of money, So I guess it goes through your mind where it's like, okay, you go out and grab that and make that money, or I just don't pass up that opportunity and then kicking myself for it later. And so he and I had no doubt in my mind that he would he could win this fight, I didn't know how he was going to win it, but in my mind, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, Caesar could find a way that, you know, he probably win this fight. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm not thinking about, like, you know, there's no, you know, Caesar's not like Steve Heath, and he's not like these other guys that he trained. And then he talks about that. That not to take away from him at all. It's just that he was right about what he said about the whole thing, and he was right about, you know, going in. It's like, you know, if you're a fighter, you fight for money. The money, you go fight and get the money.
Wait. Even like in his documentary, Frank talks about how like in his mind he was like you know, it was like a torch passing when you won. And he was like, I think I'm done, and it's going to be someone else's, you know, turn now. You lifted his arm up at the end of that fight. Why did you want to do that? Like, what was that about?
Well, I wasn't mad at Frank anymore after I beat him up. I wasn't mad. I was like, that's where I was, you know, I was mad on the way in. I was I was all sorts of immature in ways that, like, you know, you just don't think about when you are somebody that made it in life. You know, like I never had a job other than, you know, working for this company real quick with some friends. I was getting paid for once, and I was like, wow, I have a job. And I quit that job, and I started training to fight. And I took the fights, and I made money. So I just, you know, I excelled in fighting and stayed really kind of immature in all sorts of ways like that. Guys that were on my level of like intellectual capacity, you know, or people. It's kind of like it's a weird thing, man. You're either you can fight or you get a job or something, you know. Like, shut you down right on the way in. You know, I'm not gonna hear this because that's how you feel. And then now I'm not getting in workout for today because I don't feel good and you don't feel good because you just been running, you know. So it's just like, okay, well, let's remove you from the situation, or you know, it's time to remove myself, you know, from anybody who's going to be negative towards, you know, what we're going to have to do to improve what we have to work with. And I think that's that's a lot of that is just like, you know, just martial arts in general, and like the militant like aspect of jiu-jitsu that you're gonna want to bring to the table if you're you know, gonna start to, you know, exercise ring generalship in any sense, like out there, and come with a level of understanding and a good point of reference, you know.
So hold on a second. We're nearing the end here, but do you want to just take a quick break? Like, let's get you out of the chair for 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't
and
know.
Let's get you the rest of your coffee.
If like you want some